Coach, I'll be honest, I don't know how to start this tonight because I'm still tired from watching that game. Let's start with UMBC, I guess. There's so much to talk about, but you guys, in a tight game throughout, with 8 minutes left, Xavier Sneed, to me, made 4 plays. The charge, the steal and dunk, the putback dunk, the jumper from the baseline at the end of the shot clock. That really made a difference. How big was he tonight for you guys?
I mean, he was humongous. I mean, he was emotionally, mentally, physically spent after the game. And, this locker room stuff, and we went in there, and Xavier's crying, and he's just like, I dreamed about this when I was a little boy. Yeah. And that's what our fans need to understand. Like, how much we put in to getting to this point and put into these guys wearing that jersey with K-State on the front. Right. We don't act like we play what's on our back. We act like we play what's on our front. And for those kids being there emotional, it's important that our people respect that and appreciate that he's crying because he didn't say, I wish I was doing that in another jersey. He just said, you know what? I dreamed about this moment, man, when I was a little kid. And it happened here at Kansas State. So, that's important. We got a great group of kids that love the place they play at. Right. A lot of people don't always do that. They stay there just because, but these guys love playing at our place.
I asked Coach Weber after the game, I tried to joke with him and say, he always deflects. He always praises you, praises the players, that kind of stuff. He would not talk about what this meant to him. So maybe you can talk about it. What do you think this means to him, getting this done here?
I mean, this is his third Sweet 16 with a different team. Right. So I think, as a coach, you have checklists, the things you want to do, you want to accomplish, and where you want to be. And as you're maturing into a veteran or, one of the older hats in the league, you want to be at a certain level. And I think it means a lot to him. He's going to act like it means nothing. And if it didn't mean anything to him, he wouldn't have let him pour 10, 12 bottles of water on his head. And that's the fun side of coaching people don't know about. And, our guys asking, Coach, does your hair move? And then they pour water in his hair. It does now. Yep. So that type of stuff is fun. It's a blessing, man. You don't, like, when you're a young coach like I was, and, I had a lot of success really early as assistant, as head, and you say, man, this is going to Sweet 16 is pretty cool, Yep. You don't know if you'll ever get back. This is my 4th time going to Sweet 16 as in this profession. And I've been doing it. This is my 23rd year. Think about 23 times I've woken up and said, okay, we're going to start a new season. Now this is my 4th time being here. That is so hard to do. Yeah. So hard to do. But when you get here, you're only one of 16. All eyes are on you. It's so much fun. Coach said we're going to blow up the hotel when we get back. So the guys are all jacked and happy and excited. And Coach wanted them. He told them before yesterday, we could have flown out after the game. He said, no, we're going to stay there and we're going to party with your families. We have to stay until Monday. We're not going to rush back. We're going to enjoy this because I want to tell your families that I appreciate them for making this long trip to come see you play.
You personally have not bragged all year about what you do with the team or that kind of stuff, but it's relatively well known that you have a lot of responsibility defensively with this team, and that's kind of what you're known for throughout your career. You go back-to-back games, 59 against Creighton, 43 against UMBC, who's put up 74 in Virginia when no one scored 70 in them all year. So for you personally, how proud are you of the defensive effort from this team?
It's what I'm known for. Yeah. And, a lot of those times the guys will, when you are good at something or you perceive to be good, the guys constantly ask you questions, constantly ask you, well, how do we do this? How are we doing that? And you really want them to just focus on the task. But Barry's so good defensively and X are so good defensively, they make me think of new things to tell them. Right. Because they can make plays nobody else can make. Barry can see stuff and tell me and say, see, I'm going to do this. And X can just physically dominate somebody at his position just because he plays hard, he's got hustle, and he's a freak athlete too. Right. So those dudes challenge you, and that's a good thing. So you don't get stagnant. And this year we've been able to go after some people a little more defensively because of those two guys and because of Dean. And we're even missing Dean, who's our quarterback guy. Right. In our defensive stuff, because Mac don't talk, we can Mac don't laugh, Mac, you were great today.
Yep.
Yeah. You're like, oh.
Yep. Thanks.
So Mac doesn't say he just block shots back there.
Right.
Great ball screen defensive player. So this is my kind of team to coach because they got grit, they got toughness, they play hard. They're emotionless when you need them to be. Yeah. And they're full of emotion when you need them to be. So it's a really good team.
That struck me tonight, what you just said. I was fortunate to have a seat really close to you guys on the bench. And I was alarmed by how calm the bench was throughout the entire game. You guys never struck me as nervous, although I was nervous watching it. Is that the case? Were you guys calm or were you hiding some stuff there a little bit?
Nah, we I don't know we got after him a little. That timeout was pretty crazy. We weren't locked in. We got caught up in stuff, and we had to sit Barry down and calm him down.
Yeah.
And then we went on a run. And that's kind of what he had to settle down and know, like, we can't play like this with you in there acting like that. And then once he just sat on the bench and cheered for a couple plays, coach looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" And then so I said, "Oh, okay, now, he's got to go now." And then we went on a run. But the difference is we established Mac.
Yep.
And that was the whole thing. The timeout was
early,
hey guys, we're just shooting, we're jacking bad shots. Mac is just running around, and we're not rewarding him for his energy. So boom, Mac gets 3 or 4 straight possessions where he touches the ball. 2 of their bigs have 2 fouls at half, and another one has 1. And another one he got so mad he never played him the rest of the game. So that was the good side of the timeouts and our focus and our maturity. And it's usually Dean who does something very mature in our tough times throughout the season. And it was kind of like X and Cardi. It was like the younger guys, and it was Mac's silent fortitude that really during that first half when we were struggling and we were dead in the water, Mac saved us.
You talk about the first half in particular, and I thought UMBC came out really hot in that game. And this is about K-State, it's about you guys. I don't want to steal it and make it about them. But how good were they? I mean, like, they beat Virginia by 20, the night before, and then to me they looked relatively fearless against you guys.
Well, they're the type of team you don't want to play.
Right.
Because last night we told them, we were going through all the scouting stuff, and we talked about our staff being up all night, everybody helping with the scouting report. This is family stuff because we got to beat this team.
Right.
We can't have an ego enough to say, this is a one-day turnaround for a team we looked at, kind of prepared for,
right?
Kind of didn't respect them, but then we had to do an all-nighter as a staff, and that stuff brings you together, and that's the stuff that helps you win. And so when we went to the next day in front of our kids and presented them with all these sets and all this stuff and all, they were like, okay, the coaches are ready, so we got to get ready. And we didn't give them any of their stuff that they normally get, which is a credit to our kids. Completely taking them out. That their best player's a one-on-one guy, and we really made him work.
Right.
When Barry wasn't dogging him, X would be extremely physical with him and bump him and challenge his shots. And when he got past whoever was guarding him, Mac was back there to try to alter or block his shot. So I think that's the biggest thing about us getting prepared for them. And when you watch them and you realize we kept saying, that little dude is a menace, man. That little dude is a nightmare. And he is so fast, and we haven't seen speed like that.
Yep.
We've got dudes that are herky-jerky in our league and have athletic bursts. We don't have any road runners, and that dude was a straight beat. He kept getting in the lane. I mean, the most impressive thing he did was save it. When nobody thought he could get to that ball, he dove and saved it. That was so impressive, and that's like coach speak stuff, but he was a nightmare to deal with all night.
I don't want to put you in a spot where you have to say something, critical that you shouldn't, but there was a stretch in the second half where there's a lot of 50-50 calls. Mike got called for a charge when it was questionable. Barry didn't get a call going to the basket. There was a number of calls there. Was it a challenge to hold the guys together through that stretch as they were hitting some shots to come back on you guys?
I think what you need to, during that point, that's why Coach has a veteran staff. It's what, we got to calm down, number one, because we were going crazy too, and it started with us. The staff had to settle down and not react because, we couldn't react the right way. Yeah. The way that we felt it should have gone. But and it helped us once we calmed down. The guys settled in and made some defensive stops. And X makes a huge defensive play and dunks it. And we needed that dunk really, really bad from an emotional standpoint because we were popped. We just needed something with energy to help us, and that was a huge boost.
I do want to back up one game before we wrap this up. We haven't talked since the Creighton game, of course. Mike McGurl give you 17 off the bench in 22 minutes. So many big shots. He's a big part, of course, you guys going marching on to Atlanta to play against Kentucky. Talk about his game a little bit from Friday night against Creighton.
Well, Mike was really good, man. He's explosive. When you watch, he can really run and jump. He's a very athletic kid. He can defend. He can shoot it, but he hasn't yet until that point where he made all those shots. And you got to give him credit because it's so hard to be. He's not even a relief pitcher. He's a guy you might have pulled up from the minors at the end of the year and say, go win us the World Series. That's basically what he did for us. And, he came in and was awesome and was fearless. And he's how you want your young guys to play in that big of a moment, not be afraid at all. Because there was a lot of emotion in that game. Yeah. And, before that game, I told Coach, me or Chester don't need to do the scout. It has to be Brad. There's no emotional tie with Coach Korn. Yep. Korn's got to do it, because we'll overdo trying to stop him and not focus on their team and not focus on Kansas State. And then the emotional side of it is, damn, that's our guy over there, And Coach Weber, could have been a jerk to that kid and saw him check out and not said anything. Coach made sure that he stopped him and hugged him, because that's what type of man that dude is. To think of where that thing could have been with that group of guys he came in with is unbelievable, but it didn't work. But that doesn't mean we don't still care about that kid. And Marcus is still one of ours, but he finished in a different jersey, and that's as honest and approach we can say about it. And it was hard. It was hard after the game to shake his hand. It was hard to move on the line, because you see him and he's emotional. You see his mom, you see his family there. And those are people that used to wear purple. And they don't anymore.
And I meant to finish, but that's a great point you bring up. I thought personally he was so classy after the game, so mature. Praise you guys so much. Were you guys pretty proud to see the guy he's become? Because in part because of what you had to do with him.
First of all, I'd love to see that 21 a game. He's getting is not bad. But He's grown up. It's obvious. He's a good player, all-conference player. We knew he's all-conference. He could be an all-conference player in every league in the country. I think that's pretty clear. He's a grown-up guy. He's graduate. He's going to do all the things that we've seen him doing with us. And you just got to be proud, because sometimes it's so easy to be negative and say, I hope he falls flat on his face, just to prove that we were right about what happened. And that Bruce Weber never said anything bad about the kid. He just hoped he turned it around. And, obviously Mac gave him a chance, and you got to give Mac credit. Mac let him come there and let him be the star that he is. And he finished his career out. I know he probably scored 1,900 points between both spots. And, that's special in itself.
Lastly, of course, you go to Atlanta now. You'll play Kentucky, a team with a lot of talent, a lot of size, a lot of athleticism. But your players tonight, they're having fun, but they don't seem like they don't seem like they're done. They don't seem like they feel like they've won something yet. You get the sense that they still understand there's business to be done.
When you as a coach, you could get so caught up in the convincing them, let's make it to the Sweet 16, that when they get there they cap it. Right. And that's it. And now it's like, oh, we did this. Coach, you said let's go to the Sweet 16, so whatever happens after here doesn't matter. And that's something that I learned from coaching a long time. Don't cap your season. Yep. Because even though this is a goal, still we can't cap it at the Sweet 16. We know what's sitting there. We know what's right there waiting for us, and that big blue nation is over there waiting for us. So we understand that, and getting them to focus won't be hard. Like that, trust me, that will not be hard. I would like to see number 32 out on the floor. Right. In Atlanta, and he's progressing, and that's the good thing about it. And he's running his mouth now about what he's going to do. And yep. So when he says stuff like, I'm like, oh, okay, I feel better about it. Right. If he's saying what he's saying, and when you're a part of something, and as important a piece as he is to our guys, he's sick, just like Cam was sick. Right. They're sick because they want to be a part of this. And the good thing about it is both of those kids had a great approach to help our kids get better in their absence.
Right.
Now, you know, people thought we were dead in the water, had no chance without camp. Same thing. They thought we had no chance, zero, without Dean Wade. And now we've done some things that are unprecedented for teams to lose those important pieces in a season and still prosper and still have a good season despite devastating injuries, or at the most, you know, time when you just can't have those injuries,
right.
You know, but they're a part of sports.
Yep.
And you know, Dean's chomping at the bit, and we got to still be careful because we know next year, we got a chance.
Yeah.
And but it's about Atlanta right now and moving forward, and these kids they'll be ready.
Well, Coach, thank you. It is. My watch is off. It's 2 a.m. here on the East Coast, and for you to do this for the fans watching this, I just want to say thank you because they appreciate it, and you know, congratulations. I shouldn't say it as a writer or whatnot, but congratulations, and you inspired a lot of people through your performance tonight.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is amazing. I know it's a little ugly, but they didn't quit, and they just, you know, guarded the heck out of them and made a lot of big plays down the stretch. So you think we did that without, you know, Dean? That's pretty good accomplishment. So you should be very proud of them. Now we go to Atlanta.